Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Raymond. I'm an aspiring game developer from South Africa. What's the purpose of this video? Well, I had the bright idea of trying my hand at developing and releasing a game, and I thought maybe I should create a devlog, partly to receive external feedback and partly to keep myself honest, as they say. Providing regular updates throughout development helps with motivation and keeping the project going. Perhaps on the off chance, this series might serve as inspiration for yourself to pick up game development and give it a go. So what will be in this video? Well, we'll start off with a bit of a preamble. I think we can check that off. I'll give a brief overview of my history and my game development journey to this point. Feel free to skip it, but I find it interesting to hear about other people's journey, so I will share my own. And lastly, we'll move on to the introduction of the game I've started developing. So where do we start? I'm from the 80s, back when gaming was good, and I was very much into gaming. My first foray into gaming was on a Commodore 64, a wonderful machine, which opened my eyes and unlocked my imagination for what's possible. I swiftly moved on to an XE computer and MS-DOS. This gave me a first taste of programming, as I messed about with the operating system and frequently broke it. Thereafter I moved through the full gambit, a 386 computer, a Pentium 2, AMD Athlon and the like. I was never lucky enough to own a console, but I was exposed to Super Mario Bros. At a birthday party in the 80s and my mind was blown. I was hooked from the first moment I saw it, like so many of us. My love of games meant that at a very early stage in my school career I decided I will be studying programming and becoming a game developer. However, like so many before me and probably after me, after studying, I became quite passionate about affording food and being able to buy things. So in 2003 I took up my first non-game development job. 23 years later, I'm still in a non-game development job. But my passion for gaming and game development has never died. Along the road, I ventured to learn game development with XNA, put something together in the era of Steam Greenlight. Yeah, I'm that old. But as many would know, Steam Greenlight could be brutal. You were at the mercy of other Steam users to review your game, and the reviews did not go well. So I parked the dream for a few years. But that flame never died, and together with a friend from Pain Games, I'll leave a link to his channel in the description, we set out to at least complete a game. As many budding game developers know, the curse of an indie developer is never completing what you start. From this, Gumstein The Awakening was born. I'll link to the Steam page in the description. We didn't expect much in terms of sales, although one does hope and dream. But at least we followed through and completed and released the game. More recently, in 2024, we participated in the GameDev.tv Game Jam. From this, our game The Last S.T.A.N.D. was born. A game I'd venture to say we're pretty proud of putting together in just a week. It's currently hosted on itch.io, link also in the description. We have ambitions of expanding it into a fully fledged 8 to 10 hour game, but that's probably a ways off in the future. We also had the privilege of having our game showcased at the Playtopia arcade in December 2024. Playtopia, for those that aren't familiar, it's Africa's annual indie games and arts festival. That was a pretty great honor for us, and it was a fantastic experience, provided much needed fuel for the game development fire that still burned. There have been a few projects and ideas I've started on, which I'll eventually get to completing, but for now I'm dedicated to concentrating all my efforts on this one game I'm starting out on now, and I'd like to take you on the journey with me. So more about this game. The game will be called Nexus of Onslaught. Because I grew up in the gaming era of the 80s, I'm a big fan of good old side-scrolling platformers and sprite graphics. I really like the technique of marrying 2D sprites with 3D environments, and this game will make use of such a technique. As a side note, if you're interested in learning more about this technique using Unreal Engine, I can't recommend enough Cobra Code. I'll link to his channel in the description. His content on 2D programming with Unreal Engine, I'd venture to say, is the best bar none. I'm using a lot of the techniques I've learned from these tutorials and courses in the development of this game. Nexus of Onslaught will be, I suppose, an arena brawler. There will be 9 playable characters, each with a slightly different playstyle. The art that I'm using I purchased on itch.io, which is a wonderful source for game development assets. The player will enter an arena and simply try to survive as long as possible. I've got a lot of ideas for mechanics during play, but as I develop the game, I'll make decisions on what to include and which direction to go. I've learned that too much planning is the bane of creativity. That being said, I've lined up the idea of creating a series of games under the banner Nexus of Origin. A game per character, each telling the origin story of that character. But that's getting ahead of myself by quite a bit. For now, I will try to create a weekly update on progress of Nexus of Onslaught, basically as a measuring stick so I can see the progress myself. Sometimes when you're really in the thick of it, you can end up feeling like you're not really making any progress. But taking a step back, you actually do see that you're moving forward, and I'm hoping this series of videos will serve this purpose for me. I hope you'll join me on my journey towards being a full-time game developer. Thank you for watching, and subscribe so you don't miss out on the following videos.